Hi, welcome back to CBSE Board Economics. I'm Saddam Hussein here. Once again, we'll be discussing macroeconomics with a new topic. As usual, we'll be discussing 5 questions or 5 topics which are going to be very important this year. These are: 1. What is gross value of output and what is gross value added? This is the topic we'll be discussing today. Gross value of output at market price and gross value added at market price. The 5 questions go like this. What is gross value of output at market price? What is gross value added at market price? When is gross value of output at market price is equal to gross value added at market price? And then the formula you have. Formula very important here. You may get a 4-marker numerical, which is very important from the board's point of view. The formula is gross value of output at market price is equal to units into market price, or sales plus change in stock. You already familiar, change in stock is equal to closing stock minus opening stock. And you have another formula. The same thing, sales can be domestic sales, the sales can be exports, change in stock or change in inventories, and value of goods kept for self-consumption. We'll be discussing numericals here, how to do it. Let's start with what exactly is gross value of output at market price. We call it as GVO at MP. G stands for gross, V stands for value of, O stands for output, MP stands for market price. What exactly is gross value of output at market price? We already learned in the beginning of macroeconomics. To produce any commodity, the producer needs 4 factors of production. We call them as primary inputs: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. We discussed already, without this you just can't do any production. We call them as 4 factors of production or factor inputs, which are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, or you can call it as enterprise. Apart from this, the producer needs secondary inputs such as raw materials and all. With the help of it, the producer produces goods and services. With the help of primary inputs, land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and secondary inputs, raw materials. And when you evaluate or calculate the value of output in the market, how much you are selling it for, that's known as gross value of output, GVO at MP. So again I repeat, to produce a commodity, the producer needs 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and other second inputs. With the help of it, he produces the goods. When you sell it in the market, you get gross value of output. That is, they might ask different numericals on this. How do you sell it? Units into price. Or maybe you produced, we take one illustration example, you produced maybe 10 pens. Each pen you are selling it for 10 rupees. So in this case, the gross value of output will be 10 into 10, rupees 10. That is equal to rupees 100, GVO at MP, units into price. That's the formula, we wrote it here, units into market price. Why do we call it market price? Because you are selling these commodities in the market. Or sometimes what happens, sales, maybe the producer is not able to sell all the 10 pence at the end of the accounting year. So he's left out with maybe 2 pence. So in this case, sales will be 8 plus change in stock. He's left out at the end of the accounting year, 2 pence. So again, it comes out to be 10. So the formula can be sales plus change in stocks. Change in stock is closing stock minus opening stock. So here, so this is closing stock minus opening stock. Or they might ask you a different kind of numerical. So ultimately the sales can be within the country and can be exports. Maybe out of 10 pence, you domestic sales, the producer sold 5 in India, maybe within the country, or maybe he exported maybe 3 pence abroad. So that comes out to be 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 sales plus exports. Then change in stock, he kept it here. Change in stock is 1 pen or maybe 9, and value of goods kept for self-consumption maybe 1 pen, he kept it for himself. So ultimately it comes out to be 10 pence. So again, I repeat the formula, that's very important. Gross value of output at market price is equal to units into market price, or sales plus change in stock. Change in stock has a formula of itself, closing stock minus opening stock, or gross domestic sales plus exports plus value of goods kept for self-consumption plus change in stock, or sometimes they call it as change in inventories. That's gross value of output. What is gross value added? So we want to know the value addition done by the producer. The producer has sold the pens for 100 rupees. That means the producer has not produced goods worth 100 rupees himself. He did some value addition to the raw material. We'll take one good example. For example, the producer has produced wood maybe for 100 rupees and he made it into a beautiful furniture and sold it for 150. So his value addition is only 50. So that means from the gross value of output, we have to subtract intermediate consumption expenditure, the value of intermediate goods. So why do we do it? So we do it to avoid the problem of double counting. Otherwise, you'll be adding the value of inputs in every commodity. It gives you an exaggerated wrong figure of GDP. So we take only value added. So what is gross value added at market price? Simple, gross value addition done by this producer. So simple formula for gross value added is equal to gross value of output at market price minus intermediate consumption expenditure. In this case, we are talking about pens. The producer must have purchased intermediate goods such as ink, maybe refill, maybe plastic, maybe other so many other secondary inputs he must have purchased. So by subtracting the value of intermediate goods, maybe value of intermediate consumption expenditure is 30 rupees. So the value addition done by this producer is only 70 rupees. So gross value added is equal to gross value of output at market price. Again here, gross value at market price is equal to gross value of output at market price minus intermediate consumption expenditure. And okay, right. So they can ask you, when is gross value of output at market price is equal to gross value at market price? Simple, when the intermediate consumption expenditure is 0. That means there is no intermediate consumption expenditure, which is most unlikely. Okay, now we'll talk about, today we are discussing gross value of output at market price, gross value added at market price. What is gross value of output at market price? What is gross value at market price? When is gross value of output at market price is equal to gross value at market price? We'll be discussing about the formula. So I repeat once again, what is gross value of output? To produce a commodity, the producer or the firm has to engage the 4 factors of production. That's land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And apart from these 4 factor inputs, the firm has to hire or purchase some secondary inputs. They have to buy raw materials, intermediate goods. With the help of all these primary and secondary inputs, the firm produces the goods. The value of these output is known as gross value of output, which we can find out by multiplying the number of units produced by the firm with the price in the market. You get the gross value of output at market price. What is gross value at market price? By subtracting intermediate consumption expenditure of the firm from gross value of output at market price, we get gross value added at market price. So we can give any number of example. For example, okay, the firm the firm must have produced sugar mills. They produced sugar and sold it for 100 rupees. But to produce the sugar, the producer must have used sugar cane. By subtracting the value of sugar cane, we can get the gross value added by the sugar mill. For example, the mill must have purchased sugar cane from the farmers, maybe for 60 rupees. So the value addition done by the sugar mill is only 40 rupees. So for example, we'll take one more good example of a shirt manufacturer. You must have sold the shirt maybe for 500 rupees. So to manufacture the shirt, the firm has purchased intermediate goods, maybe cotton fabric, maybe thread, maybe electricity the firm must have used. By subtracting the value of all this intermediate consumption expenditure, we get gross value added. So simple logic, gross value of output at market price minus intermediate consumption expenditure will give gross value added. So the formula I repeat once again, GVO at MP, gross value of output at market price, is equal to sales plus change in stock. Change in stock is equal to closing stock minus opening stock, or units into market price, or the ultimate formula, the sales can be domestic sales plus exports plus change in stock, or we can call it as change in inventories, closing stock minus opening stock, plus value of goods kept for self-consumption. That's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for watching. I am Saddam Hussain. Please don't forget to share, like, comment and subscribe our channel, and keep watching all the videos. They will be very helpful for your board examination. Thank you once again. Goodbye.